Hey everybody, this is Bill Gaither from Sandburg's Marketing and Public Relations Department. We're continuing forward with our Wellness Wednesday series, and once again joining us is Vicki McMullin, one of the counselors that we have on staff. Vicki, how are things going with you and what's been going on with the students?
Well, we're getting close to the end of the semester here, and so students have been busy, I think, working through their finals and final projects. In terms of counseling, there hasn't been a lot of formal counseling sessions still. I continue to do a lot of impromptu counseling during advising appointments, just checking in with students to see where they're at. There's such a wide variety, a variation of how people are handling it. Some students are, it's just kind of business as usual. I mean, they have masks, but they're still going to work or they're at home, and they're emotionally they're doing fine. And then there's some students that are really struggling. I can see a trend of people are doing really well, and then there's a period that it's on and off. Like one day they're good, the next day they're not so good, or a week at a time. And I can relate to that. I know when this whole virus first started, I was pretty positive for the most part. I felt okay. I mean, there was a huge adjustment period, but I didn't feel any overwhelming anxiety. But not this week. I'm doing well. The last couple weeks, I kind of experienced that myself. I had almost overwhelming anxiety. I think it was all accumulation of everything that's happening, the realities of this has happened, it is happening, it's going to continue to happen. Listening to the news, that makes me nervous, but I was having increased insomnia, more fatigue, I was having trouble concentrating, and I was actually exercising less, I was meditating less. And so there's definitely virtue in exercise and meditation and practicing those behaviors that help nourish our soul and nourish our system. So, and which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did I have increased anxiety because I kind of fell off the wagon with those good behaviors, or is it the other way around? I guess I'm sharing that too, because I just want to bring some normalcy to it, I guess, and talk about the normalcy of it all, that we all experience it. It doesn't matter who you are, we're all going through this, we're all grieving. And I know there's been a lot of talk about grief. This is a grieving process, and grief is essentially kind of learning to adjust to life without that what we love, be it that what we have known, be it, you know, loss of a loved one, loss of a job, just loss of our structure, loss of our sense of security. And that adjustment takes time, and it's not always pleasant. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she's one of the founders of grief theory, of how people process through their emotions when they're going through grief. The 5 stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And so working through all of those, you can go back and forth between those stages, but it is a process. One thing about our feelings, and I think it's important to talk about, because a lot of people don't want to feel their feelings. I mean, the world's full of we do all kinds of unhealthy behaviors to avoid them. And there's healthy behaviors too, but it's the unhealthy ones that get us. You know, you look at the alcoholism and the rates and the drug rates and obesity and gambling, shopping, all of those things. People don't want to feel what they feel. And so looking at that, how we avoid feeling what we feel is important. Because as we push those feelings down, they get stuck. A lot of unprocessed or suppressed feelings. There's a whole field of study. It's called psychoneuroimmunology, I believe, psychoneuroimmunology. But it's the association of suppressed emotions and disease and pain. A lot of our pain is due to unprocessed emotions that we've just pushed down. If you look at a balloon, if you blow up a balloon, you blow it up and you blow it up and you blow it up, what eventually happens? It pops. And the same thing is with our system. And so it's important that we take those feelings out and look at them. We acknowledge them.
So first of all, I want to tell you, thank you for sharing that. Not just with me, we know each other as co-workers, because that's our normal circumstances, co-workers, but we've been able to develop a friendship over time too. And so I appreciate you sharing that with me in a work capacity, but also in the fact that our audiences can listen to this hopefully relate to it, and if nothing else, realize that they do need to acknowledge those feelings. As I was listening to you, there's most people, when I talk to them, I know that I'll tell them, like, things are great. I'm married, I have 2 boys, we make it all work here in the house, both of us still working from home and having the kids and doing school lesson plans and everything, but typically what I'll leave out sometimes is the fact that it is a juggling act. I was raised to take a lot of pride in my work. And so being a husband and a father is always the first thing in my life. That is nothing shakes that pillar.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, with work obligations and the sense of a normal time parameter of working, I've had to adjust that. And so I think in terms of number 5, that acceptance on the list right now, I had to go outside this morning with coffee and just take 10 and watch the birds. And it was I just needed to go and do that and not be mad, but I just had to realize that, okay, this is how the day is going to go. And I was working to try to accept that in the moment. And so I think what you said is very powerful, because there's a very open and raw transparency with that. And like you said, people don't want to go there, and people don't want to recognize that this is troublesome for everybody, and that there is a sense of loss. That loss on the high end comes in the form of people who have passed away from this, but there's many forms of loss in this case, and especially now with graduations and proms and just the list can go on. And so my hope is that as we're doing this, that everybody will stop and acknowledge what that is for them and learn to deal with that, and so they don't, as we references, so they don't have that bad ending to what happens to a balloon. So what's worked for you then to kind of get yourself back on track? Then you mentioned about meditation and eating habits and exercise, and something I know about you as a friend is that you garden now too.
I do. I love to garden. Gardening is an awesome way to, because ultimately what we want to do is relax our nervous systems. And so anything we can do to get into a relaxation state. But I want to go back to you going out on your deck and kind of taking 5. That's the perfect example of looking at what you were feeling and accepting it. And what I would ask too is, when you're feeling that, when anyone is feeling any of those emotions, where does it show up in the body? Because if you look at your tension, a lot of muscle tension, neck pain, back pain, where does your tension show up? Where does your anxiety show up? If you're feeling sad, where does that show up? Is it in your heart? Is it in your stomach? Looking at where that tension is showing up is important also. You can breathe into it. So breath work is key. Breath work and mindfulness, being in the moment. You were being mindful. You were aware of what you were feeling and acknowledging it, and that's perfect. Breath work, I think I talked last time about how our minds, we can go into the past or into the future. And so being in the moment, going out, listening to the birds chirp, getting out into the garden, being mindful though is key. Breath work is key. Breathing into those tensions, breathing into the anxiety. One quick, really nice meditation type thing you can do is breathe in what you need and breathe out what you want to release. So I want to breathe in peace, and I'm going to let go of my anxiety. I'm going to breathe in love, and I'm going to let go of my anger. Whatever it is, you breathe in what you need and you let go of what you don't. And just be still and practice that. Being conscious. Notice when you start a unhealthy behavior that you have, all of us have those things that are go-to behaviors. Notice, stop yourself. What am I feeling? What don't I want to feel right now? The more you practice this, the easier it gets. But a lot of times, like, we are on autopilot. That's what we do as human beings. But tune in is key. So tune in, breathe, feel what you're feeling, accept what you're feeling. All your feelings are okay. Carl Jung, he was a Swiss psychologist. He studied with Freud back in the early 1900s, and he says that what we resist persists. And so if you think of that, what we resist persists. It's like pushing on something. And if you're pushing on a wall, where does all your energy go? Where does all your energy go? Your energy goes towards keeping that away. And it's the same thing with anything. I don't want to feel this anxiety. I don't want to feel this sadness, but that's where you're putting all your focus. And so it's important to get back into the moment, breathe. There's all kinds of breath work techniques. You can Google those. Like I said last time, you can do the 5x5. It's 4-7-8 breathing. I think the key is to put yourself in a relaxation state. You want to put your nervous system, you want to calm your nervous system. And so anything you can do to do that, be it gardening, any hobbies that you get into the flow state, woodworking, knitting, crocheting, painting, singing, writing poetry, whatever. Visualization is also good. Visualization is very powerful. So the brain doesn't know, your body and brain don't know the difference. So you can visualize something and your entire physiology is going to react as if it's happening. So you can visualize yourself on a mountaintop, visualize yourself on in a boat, on a lake, feel the sunshine shining on you. But visualize that, feel what it feels like to be in that state, and your body will calm down. Qigong, Tai Chi, which are energy medicines, getting your energy to flow. There's all kinds of YouTube videos out on that. One really neat meditation I found lately was called the Inner Smile, and it's actually, you put your tip of your tongue on like in the back of your teeth, and you're breathing in, and there's great YouTube videos on this too, but you smile like put yourself in how do I want to say this? Smile gently, just to raise the corners of your mouth. So you put yourself, act like you're smiling, but you close your eyes and you're going to breathe a smile into your organs. You send a smile to your heart. Your energy will change. They say that a lot of our organs store suppressed emotions too. So as you send that smile to the organs, it's supposed to be healing. So exercise is also great. Exercise and stretching. They say 30 minutes of exercise is equivalent to most antidepressants. So anybody that's struggling with depression, I would say get out in the sun and get at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. Stretching out your tension is also good. Just, and again, visualize the tension being released from your muscles. So there's no one size fits all for any of this. It's just important that everybody finds their practice and that they practice it. Consistency is important. The more you do something, the greater benefit you're going to have.
That's a wonderful list of options. It shows the research that's gone into all these methods and ways to try to combat some of these things. I like the idea of sending the smiles to the organs, because that's something that everybody can do from right where they're at now. They can actually finish watching this video and go do that. So we encourage you to try that, or one of the other options that was listed today. So Vicki, anything else for us before we go?
I would just say be gentle with yourself. Take care of yourself. Do anything and everything you can to nourish your body, put yourself in the relaxation state. And you know what? When we all have the negative or the unhealthy habits, when you revert back to your comfort behaviors, it's okay. Just be careful that it doesn't become a habitual pattern. The more you can practice the positive, the greater positive benefit. I mean, we're kind of like computers in. Positive in, positive out, negative in, negative out. So practice those positive behaviors.
Well, thank you again for joining us to do this, and in particular with this message today about being so open and sharing some of the things that you've been going through as well. So I definitely hope that anybody watching this can take away a message from this and take away some positive actions that they can begin to do now to try to combat some of these things. Included in this message, we'll also have a link to Vicki as well as the other counselors we have at Sandburg. At any time, if they can be of assistance to you, please do not hesitate to reach out and look for the phone number and a way to contact the office at the end of this video. Vicki, good to see you. And as always, keep taking care of yourself.
Nice to see you too, Bill. Thank you very much for your time.